Today, I'm very excited because I have a guest today, and her name is Sharon. But I'm going to let Sharon introduce herself because she'll do a much better job than me. She's a great friend and she has a magnitude of experience as a woman in leadership in different areas of life, whether we're talking about career or we're talking about being in partnership or whether we're talking about motherhood. And so over to you, Sharon. Tell our listeners a little bit about who you are.
Hello, I'm Sharon. I have 4 kids. I paint and I have 4 kids.
She paints and she has 4 kids and she has 4 kids and she paints.
Yes.
Just to be clear. So before you became a parent, Sharon, what did your life look like?
I became a parent when I was really young. Yeah, I was 22. So I was in uni, party. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm curious, did you have a career at any point in parallel to being a parent, or just before becoming a parent, or just after becoming a parent?
After I became a parent, I was a banker. So I was in the finance industry for a while until I had my second daughter, and then I decided it was taking too much of my time away from the family life, and I quit. As soon as I quit, I discovered my hobby, which was scrapbooking at the time. And that turned to painting.
Okay, scrapbooking. I'm very curious about this because I'm visualizing an adult scrapbooking. But when I think about scrapbooking, it's something that I relate to something I would have done at school for play. And I'd love for you to share a little bit about the benefits of scrapbooking as an adult.
I think it's more like a mum thing, right? Naturally, after you had babies and children and you want to safekeep family photos, memories, family trips, that sort, and write about what you went through. Or after having a child, you write about all the emotions, how that made you feel, that sort of thing. So it's scrapbooking, right? You're keeping all the good memories on top of writing about it.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever look back at those scrapbooks?
No.
You don't?
I mean, I have them on my family coffee tables and things. I don't personally because I don't know why. Maybe because I've made them and I've stared at them for so long, but my kids enjoy going through it.
Okay.
Our family yearly thing, our family trips, how much they've grown, what they used to like.
So they can chart their growth, they can chart their journey of their lives through these scrapbooks that their mother has committed a lot of time and effort and love towards.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's something that those of us who are not parents yet, or maybe choose never to be parents, that this is an activity that is beneficial for everyone as a way of documenting life's journey and then being able to spend some time sort of looking back? Because I don't know about you, but I find I'm so on the chase, and I'm not even doing it consciously. It's just like we're so busy, right? You got stuff to do, that I very rarely spend the time to sit back and kind of reflect. And there was I did an episode about how important self-reflection is. And that's all well and good, but actually to have something tangible like a scrapbook must be incredibly powerful. Would you recommend this to everybody? Because you said it's a mom thing.
Yeah, I said it's a mom thing because it was to me at that point. But no, it's not only for a mom to document your child's life, but a lot of people do them documenting their own life, even without children in. It's like what we do on Instagram now. It's kind of like you want to look back and remember what you've done, what your experience was and how you felt and the pictures that goes along with it. So scrapbooking is different though, as you would like posting on social media, because you spend time. I don't know about you, but I like to read a book, literally book in my hand. So I'm a feel and touch kind of person. I like to get my hands dirty, get messy, actually do the thing, literally. So scrapbooking is very therapeutic in a way where you need to put the papers together, you need to glue, you need to be creative, where things, you need to look and sit and feel.
I love that. And I do feel there's a sense that now with technology, not just us as the adults, I say nobody can see me, but in inverted commas, the adults, but the child part within us and what more the children of today are losing out because of technology. We lose out on that sensory experience of really using our hands and also experiencing, seeing life multidimensionally, because we're looking at screens all the time. And of course, yes, we have virtual reality and we have great graphics, but nothing could possibly replace the dimensions that we can experience when we see real colors, real things, real nature with natural light, and then pick up on the senses of that experience through a sense of smell, through the touch, so when the wind is blowing, and being fully present in our bodies. And I'm thinking now about scrapbooking and how, as you've mentioned, using our hands is so important, using the digits of our fingers, just like when we take our feet out of our shoes and walk barefoot. It's igniting and activating our senses, our physical senses. And that's reminding us in many ways that we are alive. We're not just running on this program, and that we can connect with life itself.
I agree with that. And then I try to experiment on my children, and I'm like, hey, how about if we do this? Like, get our hands dirty, get the old-fashioned, inverted commas, way, where you literally get into it and none of the digital stuff and things. Maybe we're from back then and we understood things the way it was. But children nowadays, they're so modernized, and so everything is digital and things. I must say, like NFTs and things like that, they blow my mind, right? Digitally, when you see something light up and move and so digitalized, it's amazing. It does capture me, right? So maybe they're in different times. This is their way of expressing. This is their way of, I don't know, taking things in as well and understanding whatever the message is.
Sure. And I think it's important, that's the evolution. And it's important for the older generation to show an interest, be curious, to discover more about how the technology and evolution of art is evolving, what it is becoming. But I also feel that it's important for us not to lose sight of the very thing that makes us unique, the very thing that sets us above AI and technology, which is our senses, which is these human aspects of us that we can't possibly tune, or rather program, AI to do. But I want to just bring this conversation back to you and I, actually, because we're talking about scrapbooking. We're talking about art, using art as an outlet of expression and really a way to record memories as well, and to get us into our bodies, into a more creative state. And there's one thing that life definitely does, is it gets us into a pattern of behavior. And it's very easy to get comfortable in this pattern of behavior and work on autopilot. And it's because of you, I got reintroduced to art. And it's taking me back quite a few years now. And I remember, and I know this is going to make you smile, the first time I got into your studio, and I'm going to invite you to share with everybody a little bit about Meraki, but for now, I'll just share the story. Sharon invited me into the studio, and she put a canvas on the wall, and I had all, like every color under the sun of paint that I could imagine, and every shape and size of brush to use. And she's like, go ahead, let's paint. And we were doing a bit of an experiment together because I curated a playlist and I wanted to paint to the playlist, and I had prompts, etc. And I remember turning to her and saying, what do I do? And she's like, paint, here, choose your colors. So I went and I chose some colors and from the paint, what do you call those things? See,
Tubes.
I don't even know. Paint tubes, that's the word, right? And I was like, okay, I've got the colors. Now what do I do? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to let you tell the rest of the story
You're
now.
like, what do I do? I'm like, open it, squeeze it out, and then pick up the brush and paint. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was your nerves. Maybe the canvas was too big. I don't know.
And that's it. I had just become so accustomed to being told what to do. That's one thing. Being told what to do, because we do live in an age where we're fed information.
That's true.
Just like Instagram and Facebook and all the other social media platforms. All we need to do is switch it on, and immediately it's just infinite amount of information that we're being fed. So that was one thing right there. I was put outside my comfort zone, and suddenly it was like I'd forgotten what to do. The most basic things, right? Because the brain, in that sense, had been dulled. The second thing is perfectionism. not wanting to do it wrong. Because I'm curious, what is your thoughts around the conditioning of the mindset in art, and what is perfect art, and what is the right way to draw or paint?
Okay, so I work a lot with children, and I love working with children because they remind me to just be in the moment, just do it. There is no right or wrong. It will eventually work out anyway, right? So as grown-ups, we tend to forget that after like just growing up, university, working, parent, whatever, you tend to be expected to have more responsibilities, expected to grow up, expected to be an adult, right? So you lose all the fun, all the carefree, all the imperfection. When I started the scrapbook business, I always tell my clients, I'm like, okay, you want to scrapbook with me, but first rule is embrace imperfection. Just remember, this is your creativity. This is your art. There is no right or wrong. You will find your style, and whatever style that is yours. Who's to say that it's perfect, that it has to be perfect? No way, right? You said it. So yeah, we lose that as we grow up.
So would you recommend that as a lifestyle practice, almost like a mental health and emotional well-being, and I have to go there because that's what I'm passionate about. If there's one thing that we could include in our lifestyle is a practice, whether it's daily or weekly or monthly, where we get to just be artistic, like really connect with that artistic side of us because it's so important. It's a way for us to break free or really surrender this belief, the conditioning that we have about what perfection needs to look and feel like. Is that something you would recommend for people?
Absolutely. Just do whatever it is that is creative to you, not necessarily in art, like with you in music. If it feels right, it often is right. You've just got to own it. Wait, that just sounded like you. You just got to own it. Once you own it, you're confident about it, you believe in it, it's going to happen, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that experience I had with you sort of opened a portal of a different aspect of creativity for me. And it really connects with my value of play, right? At the end of the day, we're adults. What is an adult anyway? We're all just trying to figure out life still. Because the truth is, I always say this, the minute you think you know it all, you know nothing. And how on earth did we let life get so serious? Whether you are a CEO or a founder, a teacher, a doctor, a brain surgeon, a parent, right? Wouldn't life be just so much more fun if we infused a little bit more curiosity and curiosity into the moment to discover more about ourselves? Just like when I had that session with you, I just discovered how I thought I was so creative and so free, but that was so confronting, that experience, and I had you to guide me through it. And for those of you listening, and if you're curious to learn more about tapping into that artistic side of yourself, because everybody is an artist, then I definitely invite you to look for Sharon on Instagram. And can you tell everybody a little bit about Meraki?
Meraki is a studio I go to paint myself. Once in a while, I do put my paintings up. I do try to get a gallery there. I do run classes as well for grown-ups and children, groups and private sessions here in Malaysia.
Amazing. And what about online?
I do have something online. Well, I did have something online during the pandemic. Funny how you said that because somebody just texted me last night going, let's go back online. We did art journaling online, which was quite fun. And that's like a live session in a group setup.
Ooh, art journaling. I need to know more about this because I was an avid journaler and there are definitely proven benefits from journaling. It's a very good way to brain dump, to get out of the overthinking mind. It's great for releasing stress. And to be honest, I kind of dropped off the journaling wagon for nearly a year now, actually. So I'm really curious to know a bit more about art journaling. Can you share with our listeners what art journaling is?
Okay, so I've done art journaling for like forever, ever since I started. Well, Even from the scrapbooking days, you tie your picture to a little story, mainly because you don't want to lose that memory. And then it moved to me painting on big canvases. And I always go back to my little book, sometimes not too little, to probably try new things, to explore. And while you're trying the new things and exploring with all the different mediums, you want to put it in note form as to how you got to a particular texture or outcome. So art journaling to me is there's that bit there, and there's also bit where it's like a visual diary where you go and paint what you think is, or at the time you want to remember, or a good memory, or something you saw, I don't know, on Facebook or a magazine or newspaper, and you want to repeat that and see how arty you can get things going and how you can add to it to make it super exciting. So art journaling can be so much. It can be also where you write about your dreams, you write about your fears or anything. It's a diary, right? For you only. The art element in it is to make it super colorful and vibrant and
Okay.
right?
It's an alternative way for you to allow your thoughts and the way that you perceive your world to come out, to be expressed, right? And I'm trying to think now about how important it is actually for us to bring practices, artistic practices like this into our lives, not just on a personal perspective, but in fact, I'd love to see this in the business world more. And maybe for some listeners, might be thinking, yeah, right, that's never going to happen. But the truth is, if you believe something is never going to happen, then you are limiting yourself.
Happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. But it's not about whether I think it's good. It's more about how this can open the doorway for people to tap into what their unique vision of life and what their unique view of life is, and how they can bring that into the workspace. So what I mean is that, we're all conditioned pretty much quite similar because we all go into a school system and we're all living in the system of life and the world. But through art, at least from my experience, you give yourself permission to detach from this system, detach from a very fixed way of thinking, and go into this huge adventure. And the awareness that you build from it, your affinity for color, the freedom that you find with just holding a paintbrush or holding a pen or playing with color, exploring textures, it's very curious for me how that experience of being free in an artistic environment can affect my system, so that when I go back to a work environment, when I'm faced with a problem, I fired up new things in my brain, right? And how I'm going to employ what I fired up, those new neurons that have been fired up, how I can apply it in the workplace. I don't know if I'm doing a great job of explaining it, because it makes sense to me in my mind how when I detach from my daily life and I do something artistic and creative and free, and I get to be fearlessly authentic, and I get to be curious in every moment to see, where's this color going to take me? Where's this stroke going to take me?
Wow, Sa, you're a very good student, I must say, because I was your art teacher.
Yeah, absolutely, you are.
That's exactly what it is in art journaling. And I just had a workshop yesterday, and I was trying to explain to them, it is self-awareness. You learn so much from working in your books because you make mistakes and you learn how to be okay with it and you learn to try and fix it. So there's so much in there, say from just that. You've made a mistake and then you be okay with it and then you fix it. If you have no outlet to do that, how will you learn how to approach that problem, right? Problem. So it is a self-awareness, self-improvement. There's so much in there. Everybody needs an outlet, I think, no matter what it is.
And you could use art to help process your emotions as well, right? You could literally draw, like if you're angry.
If you're angry, your art is going to come out angry. If you're lovey-dovey, your art is going to come out lovey-dovey. But again, everybody have their own style. So my lovey-dovey might not look lovey-dovey to you. But yeah, it's how you express. Like I'm not very good with words. So I like to paint I put all my emotions in my painting. And it's usually at that point in my life, what I'm going through, I put in. So people always say to me, well, not people always, but people have said, your style's very different and it's evolving all the time. Shouldn't you be an artist that has only one style? I mean, if you notice, any famous artist, they have the one style and they just do the same thing. Not exactly the same, but different ways expressed, but same style. So I'm like, maybe I'm a Gemini. Maybe, I don't know. I like to try new things and try new colors. I like to challenge myself. And I might be going through a different point in my life that I'm expressing through all these different emotions, right?
Yes.
I'm just letting it out at the time. So it's all different, I would say, at every point in time in my life. So, yeah.
I think you're right there as well. Like, even though on the outside, someone might see it being different, your art, during different stages of your life. But if it was somebody who really followed you, they would be able to see your style, that fearless, authentic thread.
You said that because you're the second person I told this to. And the first person said, actually, I don't see any difference in your art. Like, it's all very you. Like, that's interesting.
I definitely see that. And for those of you here listening who are really big on art, and you go to exhibitions, if you've been to any of the big exhibitions of the famous artists, so let's talk about Vincent van Gogh. If you trace their journeys, or Monet, or Matisse, you definitely see an evolution of their art. From the very early days until their final days, there is a huge curve of growth and change. Very, very diverse styles, actually, but also a very, very a powerful overriding style. We can't run away from that. It's just like trying to say, like my voice. Let's talk about my voice for a moment, because music being my modality. When I listened to my singing voice when I was 23 to my speaking and singing voice now, it's completely different. But there's a nuance there that is still Melissa. And that's going to be our fearless, authentic print throughout our lives, whether it's music, whether it's singing, whether it's art, and in the different expressions of art. And that's why it's so important for us to break out of this system of homogenization where we're all about being the same and all about trying to fit in and trying to be perfect at being a certain way. Because we're not meant to fit in this world, are we, Sharon? We were just talking about being misfits, and I think Sharon was a little bit upset that I called her one, only because she knows it's true.
I know. Of course I know it's true. I mean, there's only just one of us, right? And we're all different in so many ways. We're so different. I mean, I have to agree with you. There's not one of us. Only I can do that piece. Only I can have painted it that way. Nobody else can. Even if I tried to repeat it, it won't look the same. It's that point in time, in that moment, right set of mind, attitude, emotion.
Totally. And we see it because if you go for an art class or an art workshop and you have the proverbial sort of still life workshop, right? So you have people sitting in a circle, maybe around a nude person or, a still life setup. So everybody's looking at it, the same thing, and everybody's painting the same thing in inverted commas. But with 9 people there, you'll see 9 different pieces of art. And that's very telling about the way each of us see the world. So when we have conflicts, I'm going to just move this conversation, how important it is that art helps us not only see life, our own unique perspective of life, but when we're in group, it helps us appreciate how different we all are and perhaps become more compassionate when we're communicating with each other, because Sharon and I are going to draw the same apple, but I tell you what's going to look very different. And so when I look at that, I can say to myself, perhaps I'm going to spend a little bit more time explaining something to her, or more importantly, spend more time listening to her, because the way she saw that apple is different to how I saw it. So when we're having this conversation now about life, I know she's going to see it differently. And what can I learn from her? What are your thoughts about that, Sharon?
I think that's so true. I enjoy being around people and doing art together or yoga and that sort. You learn so much, right? In a community. Everybody's different. Everybody has their different point of view. And the more you're in a group of people and learning together and whatever and doing something together, it could be a yoga class, you tend to know that's their way of seeing things. And you tend to learn it is okay being different, or how they see things might not be the same way you see things, right? That opens up my mind.
Absolutely. So just to round up this episode today, I definitely would love for you to touch on how we first got connected. Tell us a little bit about Angsana.
Yeah, what I should have said also, I do run a charity organization, a music therapy for the underprivileged in a local hospital. It's very passionate to me and to Ria. Ria Thomas is the chairperson of Angsana. We both co-founded Angsanacare. Do check us out on angsanacare.org. We raise money and we pay for our therapists and that to go into the hospital to give therapy, music therapy, and play therapy to the caregivers, to the patients, usually the paediatric wards. Yeah, it's just amazing the work that our therapists do.
Yeah, art's so healing, isn't it?
Art is so healing, and we all need it. They need it. They didn't know they need it until they tried it. It's so heartwarming to see.
Did you say art-warming?
Hot.
Heartwarming. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for spending your time with me today to share your passion of art and the way that you bring it forth into the world. And of course, having been my art teacher and introduced art to me, and now I'm able to share and grow through my art and offer that to other people with my music. It's been such an honor to have you here. And I'm so glad that you also sharing with everybody your passion project, the NGO that is Angsanacare. So do make sure you go and check out Ansana. Is it angsanacare.org?
Org, yeah.
And look for Meraki Studio Malaysia on Instagram and get in contact when you are ready to be fearlessly curious about how art can change your life, not just on a personal level, but also change the culture of your team, culture of your business. It's so important for us to really tap into that creative side of ourselves, because without showing up with fearless authenticity, really allowing for yourself and your team members to show up in their uniqueness, we lose out on great wisdom. That's all from me this week. Until the next episode, stay fearlessly curious.